What's a boat doing in the middle of a desert? It's a question that has baffled archaeologists for decades. In the heart of Egypt, far from the nearest shoreline, an astonishing discovery was made: ancient ships buried beneath the sands of Abydos. These vessels weren't mere models or remnants. They were full-sized, seaworthy ships that predate the Great Pyramids by centuries. Who built them? Why were they placed so deliberately in the desert? And what secrets do they hold about the seafaring capabilities of ancient civilizations? Join us as we uncover the mystery behind these forgotten fleets. The discovery at Abydos began in 1988, when a fierce desert storm swept across one of Egypt's oldest archaeological sites near the region. As the sands shifted, they revealed something completely unexpected: wooden beams protruding from the ground, hollowed out and weathered by time. For years, this strange find remained a mystery. It wasn't until an American archaeological team returned to the site in 2000 that things took a dramatic turn. What they uncovered would change history. Buried beneath the desert were the remains of a massive fleet of 14 ancient boats, each about 70 feet long, lying side by side, perfectly parallel to one another. These weren't models or decorative objects. They were full-size ships. The wood, though degraded and riddled with termite damage, was still preserved well enough for scientists to extract samples. What they found was shocking. Radiocarbon dating revealed that these ships were nearly 5,000 years old, making them the oldest fleet ever discovered. Their age placed them at least 500 years before the construction of the Great Pyramids at Giza. But how did such massive ships end up buried deep inland, miles away from the Nile's current course? Initially, scholars believed that these vessels once floated on the banks of the mighty river. Yet, further studies debunked that theory. The Nile had never flowed close enough to this burial site. Even more curious, if these boats had been docked on a riverbank, their positioning would have been haphazard. Instead, they lay neatly aligned, as if intentionally arranged. Excavations revealed that each ship rested within its own mud brick vault, a chamber designed to house it perfectly. These enclosures were about a third the size of a tennis court, with mud brick walls lined with over 120 boat drawings, carefully painted on whitewashed surfaces that had somehow survived the ages. Though local villagers and early explorers had known of the site's existence for over a century, it wasn't until the 21st century that the true significance of the Abydos boats was understood. Their deliberate placement, their scale, and their craftsmanship spoke of a civilization capable of remarkable engineering feats. These ships were not just buried, they were entombed in a manner strikingly similar to how pharaohs were buried with treasures for the afterlife. The significance of the Abydos fleet goes far beyond just another archaeological find. It rewrote a crucial chapter in our understanding of ancient Egyptian engineering and shipbuilding. Prior to this, most evidence of Egyptian ships came from small wooden models found in tombs, like those discovered in King Tutankhamun's tomb, where 35 miniature boats offered insights into nautical life. But models can only tell so much. The ships at Abydos were the real deal, seaworthy vessels capable of transporting dozens of rowers across water. These weren't primitive rafts or dugout canoes either. Unlike earlier boats made from hollowed-out tree trunks or bundled reeds, the Abydos fleet was crafted from planks lashed together, a shipbuilding technique that marked a significant technological leap. This method, known as shell-first construction, was rare at the time and suggests a far more advanced understanding of maritime craftsmanship than previously believed. But perhaps the most astonishing detail was the wood itself. There are no forests in Egypt's desert. The nearest source of quality timber, specifically cedar wood, was Lebanon, hundreds of miles away. This means the builders of the Abydos fleet had not only the resources but also the logistical capability to import massive quantities of timber across great distances. Such an enterprise would have been reserved for the elite of society, likely the pharaoh himself. The arrangement of the ships, each resting in its brick-lined chamber, adds another layer of mystery. These vaults weren't simple pits. They were carefully designed enclosures, almost ceremonial. The walls were adorned with intricate boat drawings, reinforcing the significance of these vessels. Their placement, construction, and materials suggest they were never intended for regular use. Instead, they were purpose-built, likely symbolic and possibly ritualistic. A fleet designed not for earthly waters, but for a voyage beyond life. The Abydos fleet, therefore, wasn't just a collection of ancient ships. It was a monument to early Egyptian ambition, showcasing their technological prowess and spiritual beliefs. To truly understand why these monumental ships were buried in the desert, we have to step into the spiritual world of ancient Egypt. In their belief system, life didn't end with death, it transformed. And to journey into the afterlife, one needed a vessel worthy of the gods. Central to this belief was Ra, the Egyptian sun god, who sailed across the sky during the day and navigated through the underworld at night aboard a solar boat. The pharaoh, seen as the earthly embodiment of Ra, was expected to follow the same cosmic journey after death. Thus, for the pharaoh to be reborn each morning, just like the sun, he too required boats for the afterlife. This is where the Abydos fleet takes on its deeper meaning. These ships weren't mere tools for earthly travel. They were vehicles of spiritual passage, crafted to accompany the pharaoh's soul on his eternal voyage. Their burial near Abydos, a sacred city associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife, strengthened this symbolism. The boat's orientation, perfectly aligned and meticulously arranged, echoed the order and harmony Egyptians believed governed both the cosmos and their society. Even Khufu's solar boat, discovered beside the Great Pyramid centuries later, followed this tradition, providing the pharaoh with transport for the next world. Yet despite their grandeur, scholars remain unsure whether the Abydos boats ever touched water. They may have been used in ceremonial processions or built purely for symbolic purposes. Either way, their construction demonstrates not only remarkable craftsmanship, but a deep spiritual commitment and an effort to ensure that Egypt's rulers could traverse the mysterious waters of eternity, just as they once ruled the Nile. The Abydos fleet is just one of many jaw-dropping examples of ancient Egyptian ingenuity. Across the sands of Egypt, other technological feats continue to amaze modern scientists and historians alike. One of the most remarkable is the solar boat of Pharaoh Khufu. Discovered in 1954 near the Great Pyramid of Giza, this vessel, unlike the Abydos fleet, was almost twice as long, stretching 143 feet, and was carefully disassembled and buried in a pit to accompany Khufu in the afterlife. The precision and craftsmanship of Khufu's boat mirror the sophistication seen at Abydos. Constructed with cedar wood planks tied together using rope, a method known as sewn plank construction, the boat's design was so advanced that when it was reconstructed, it floated perfectly. It demonstrated that ancient Egyptians possessed not only religious motivations for their ships, but also real seaworthy engineering skills. But Egypt's engineering genius wasn't limited to shipbuilding. Venture south to Saqqara, and you'll encounter the Serapeum, a labyrinth of underground tunnels housing 24 massive granite sarcophagi, each weighing between 70 to 100 tons. These weren't ordinary coffins. Carved from a single block of granite, their surfaces were polished to a mirror, finished with precision so exact that even modern tools struggle to replicate it. How these giant boxes were transported through narrow tunnels and lowered into perfectly fitted niches remains a puzzle. The tunnels themselves were only slightly wider than the sarcophagi, leaving no room for hundreds of workers to maneuver. Some speculate the use of sand-filled chambers to lower the boxes, a technique requiring incredible skill and coordination. Adding to the mystery is the speculation that these sarcophagi weren't just for burying sacred bulls as traditionally believed. Some theories suggest they might have been sealed energy chambers, utilizing the piezoelectric properties of granite under pressure. The notion is controversial, but reflects the open questions surrounding ancient Egypt's technological prowess. Together, these marvels, whether ships buried in the desert, boats hidden near pyramids, or sarcophagi carved with uncanny precision, point to a civilization that blended spiritual belief with technological mastery, creating artifacts that continue to challenge modern understanding. While the Abydos fleet offers an incredible glimpse into Egypt's early mastery of shipbuilding, it's far from the only example of advanced ancient maritime technology. Across the world, other civilizations built remarkable vessels, raising the question, did these cultures develop seafaring independently, or was there a transfer of knowledge across distant lands? Take, for example, the Viking longships of Scandinavia, sleek, fast, and designed to navigate both open seas and shallow rivers. These vessels appeared thousands of years after the Abydos fleet, yet their construction shows an advanced understanding of hydrodynamics and ship stability. The Vikings used overlapping planks, known as clinker-built construction, allowing flexibility and strength in rough waters. Further back in time, the Phoenicians, renowned traders of the ancient Mediterranean, mastered shipbuilding techniques that enabled them to sail beyond the Straits of Gibraltar, possibly even reaching as far as the British Isles and West Africa. Their sturdy merchant ships were equipped with a central keel, improving stability during long voyages. In the Pacific, the Polynesians developed double-hulled canoes capable of traversing thousands of miles between islands, using only the stars, ocean currents, and bird flight patterns. They populated vast stretches of the Pacific Ocean long before European explorers dared to cross such distances. The Chinese treasure ships of the Ming Dynasty, built centuries later, dwarfed most vessels of their time. Some reached lengths of over 400 feet, carrying hundreds of sailors, soldiers, and diplomats on voyages across the Indian Ocean. These global examples raise intriguing possibilities. Was the Abydos fleet a unique innovation of early Egypt, or did it reflect a shared legacy of maritime knowledge that spanned continents? They invite us to question what we think we know, to peer into the ingenuity and complexity of early civilizations, and to consider the possibility that the ancients understood far more about the world, its elements, its challenges, and perhaps even its unseen dimensions, than we've yet realized. The fact that the Abydos fleet was buried so deliberately and with such precision suggests that these ships were never just tools, they were symbols, part of a cosmic narrative where the pharaoh wasn't simply a ruler, but a divine being undertaking a celestial voyage. Whether they ever touched water in the physical world is beside the point. Their true destination was the afterlife, their true mission a spiritual one, guiding the soul through the journey of rebirth. And that's what makes them so extraordinary. In our time, ships are often seen as practical machines, yet in Abydos, they were spiritual vessels, carefully engineered to navigate a metaphysical realm. Every plank lashed, every chamber lined with bricks, every orientation chosen with purpose. It all reflected a worldview that merged engineering with religion, craft with cosmology. Even thousands of years later, these ancient boats stir something in us. They remind us that humanity has always looked beyond the horizon, not just physically, but philosophically. The Egyptians believed in a balance between the seen and unseen, in the power of ritual, and in the continuity of life, beyond death. And they channeled those beliefs into their engineering, creating marvels like the Abydos fleet, the solar boats, the Serapeum sarcophagi, and the lost city of Aten. In many ways, the real voyage is ours. With every excavation, every rediscovered artifact, we get closer to understanding the minds and motivations of a civilization that helped shape human history. But as with all great journeys, the path is as important as the destination. And as long as there are buried ships waiting beneath the sand or cities waiting beneath the dust, the story of ancient Egypt and of human potential will continue to unfold.